This is a Taranis Q X7, and I think this is the best radio to start, and also probably the only one you're going to need. The thing about buying stuff like the radio and the goggles when you get into FPV is there's two schools of thought. There's like, well, I'm going to buy cheap because I don't know if I'm going to get into the hobby, and also I'm going to buy the best I can because these things don't break very often. Everything that you put on your quad is being thrown into the air and has a very high chance of it breaking at some point. This does not go in the air, this stays on the ground in your hands, and the goggles stay on your face. So these are two things that are going to be, hopefully stay with you for quite a long time. So I think this is the best radio for beginners, and I think it's a radio that grows with you. The X9D is, that's probably like better than this, like objectively I'd say it's probably better. It has more features, but the styling is like the old style Taranis stuff. This is, I kind of like this, like the FrSky is sort of like more angular look. Like the X9D looks like it's a radio from the 90s because, well, it sort of is. And that's not really a reason to not like it. I mean, functionally it is still probably the best radio going for the money, but it's twice the price of this. So yeah, so this is why I think this is the best beginner radio. It has the USB port on the bottom instead of on the back, which makes it easier and better for using with simulators. But the cool thing about it is that you can upgrade it as you go and you can mod it as you go. And I'm going to show you a few mods to do on your QX7 if you choose to get this. There is an X7S which kind of does a couple of the mods for you. I don't think that it's has good value. I think if you do them yourself you get better value, but really it's kind of almost the same. But because it's cheaper to get this at the start, I think this is still the best beginner radio. So when you're getting into FPV, it is one of the two big purchases, is the radio and the goggles. They're the two most expensive things that you're going to buy, and I think buying one of these is exactly I think they're about £90 on like normal websites, and you can probably get it for like 80 on Banggood and whatever, and that is really good value for what you get. You can then buy this before you buy anything else, play it on simulators and stuff, and if in a month that you only really played on the simulator for a few hours, you've only wasted £80 instead of 160 if you brought a X9D, or 140 if you brought an X7S, and then you can use this for as long as you want and it will serve you fine, and then when the time comes you can start upgrading it, and that's what I'm going to kind of show you now. I'm going to show you some of the upgrades that I'm going to do on this. This is a stock one, this is fresh out the box. Yeah, anyway, let's get started with the mods then to show you how this thing can grow with you. So once you sort of decide, yeah, this is a hobby for you, you can turn this into an X7S or better. The only thing to watch out for is in the expansion bay, there's the 5 pins. Is it 5? Yeah, there's 5 pins there that are very thin and they just have to fit through the little hole. So just make sure you don't bend any of those when taking it apart. So if we look down here, there is this XJT connector. Now this is where the battery usually goes. What we're going to do is we're going to use this, which is kind of like an extension lead for those things, and we're going to plug one end of this into there and then the other one like that, and then if you imagine we'll just splice these wires in the middle and then connect them to this barrel connector. We need to find a place on the case. I'm going to use this part of the case to find a decent spot for the barrel connector, and it will probably be on this side here. Yeah, let's measure it so we don't fuck it up. So it's 7.6. No, it needs to be a tiny bit bigger. There you go. Now it looks pretty neat. Got a little barrel connector on the outside. It's all connected. It's pretty solid. Doesn't move around. Because I brought a 2S LiPo balance lead extension, there are 3 wires connected. If you look at the battery box, there's only 2. So the middle wire is, you could probably leave it there if you wanted, but it's pretty pointless. I'll just use exactly half. YOLO! Didn't even measure. Okay, so when you look at this, you don't actually know which one of these connects to which. So just using trusty multimeter and putting a multimeter pin probe on one of these little things, and then touching the sleeve gives me nothing. Touching the barrel gives me continuity. That means that one, the short one in this case, is the barrel. Now we just have to know from the power supply, is the barrel the positive or the negative. You know those little pictures that show the polarity? They point to either like a C shape, which is the outside, or a dot in the middle, which is the barrel or the tip. And in this case the barrel is plus and the sleeve is minus. So now we know how to wire it up that it'll work for this power supply. You want the cables, the XJT ends on this side of the hole, the solder ends on this side of the hole, the little nut thing on this side of the hole, because that's going to hold the barrel connector in, so it needs to be there. We'll get these heat shrinks on there as well, so that everything's all in line, and then you just solder these on and that's it. Reason being a little bit gentle with that is because these are really cheap. It's a 28 gauge wire, so I'm just worried I'm going to damage them. There you go, that's what it's going to look like from the outside. Pretty cool. Once you try to charge the battery twice by taking it out of the back of the receiver, you're going to want to do this probably straight away. And this makes it better than the X7S, because the X7S doesn't have an external charging port, I don't think. So yeah, so you win there, although it does come with a rechargeable battery where this doesn't. So I brought one of these Mmmm packs, which is like 10 quid, I think. Oh shit. Cut! I brought one of these Mmmm packs, which you can still use the original battery tray, but then with the mod that we've just made, it will still be rechargeable from a Mmmm charger outside of the case, so you never have to open the back or look at it again. Well, until you need to change the battery. Okay, so that's good. But while it's open, I'm going to do mod 2, Hall Gimbals. And these are just kind of like a drop-in, drop-out replacement. So yeah, so we're going to unscrew these ones, rip them out, put the Hall gimbals in, and then we can close it up. And that's kind of the interior mods done. Okay, so the old ones were kind of oriented like that, I think, if I remember rightly. With the Hall gimbals, you want to orient them with the two bars, what looks like these little, they have these little metal strips. These are to adjust the tension. You want those to be facing the outside. That's just how these new ones fit. Let me just screw those down there. Alright, now a couple more things before we close it up. First, the throttle stick still has return to center, because you buy them, they're all the same, so they all have return to center. You probably don't want that unless you're buying 3D. They come with a little bag of screws. There's a thinner screw in there that goes into a little hole just here. I'm wondering if you can see it. Probably not. There is a hole where my finger is. So the return to center is basically disabled by screwing a screw into this hole where my screwdriver is connected now. And if I push it up, push the throttle down to the bottom and screw. So the screw sits on top of this little support now, which basically means that the throttle is free. Now we can safely put the lid back on. So we've got new gimbals in there now, and we've got this battery mod sort of ready to go. I'm going to now plug in the little XJT into the board, the one that fits, and then that leaves the extension lead one to go onto the battery connector like that. That fits in there now, so you never really need to open the back again, because you've got your little charging port right here. I know what you're thinking, why is there loads of time left on this video? Surely you're done now. We just painfully watched you solder some bits that are going to be plugged into mains power, so what else are we going to do to pimp this little guy? Some stick ends. So these are really cool if you're a thumber. I am. If you're not, if you're just a pincher, probably doesn't matter to you at all. But if you like using your thumbs, then these top bits are really kind of sharp and thin and pointy. These are some little ends that you can get, but the thing is these do only fit on the Hall gimbals. So if you still have the stock gimbals on them, then these won't fit. Just need a little 2mm hex driver, take out these, and then unscrew this metal piece all the way. That already looks way better, and if you're a thumber, it gives you a little bit extra grip as well. So that's cool. I know what you're thinking. There's still time left on the video. What else could you put? Alright, this bit's getting a bit crap now, but there's another thing I like to do. These are purely cosmetic mods now. The balance bar in the middle, you can get different coloured ones. When I say it, I realise how stupid. It's not a mod, that's just me being fucking pretentious. But look, I found a nice aluminium red one. And this is the kind of thing that I spend my money on, because I'm an idiot. There we go. So now I have a red balance thing in the middle. But Tom, why is there so much more time left? Alright, cool. So that bit's dead. I'm not doing that again. There's one more thing that I like to do. I don't know why I'm moving around so much. I'm just getting a bit tired of the same format. This is another thing that you can get on Banggood, and this, to me, this is a personal thing. This is really the finishing touch for me. These are little red stickers. It's literally all they are. They're little red stickers, and they stick on the edge and wrap around. Now this radio is pretty much modded out to its capacity. This will keep you going for as long as you need, really. I can't see there's anything else that you could possibly need. And let's just start getting into long range stuff, right? And then that's where this little module bay comes in. And if you just take off this little plate, slap in one of these bad boys, and it's red. So it's red and white all over, it looks really cool. There you go, that is now my custom Taranis Q X7. It's better than the Q X7S. It's not quite as good as an X9D, it never will be because it doesn't have the same screen. The X9D screen is nicer. Although I do like the joystick thing on this, the little twiddly thing, which is nicer than the X9D, and the USB port on the bottom, which is nicer than the X9D. So it swings and roundabouts, but the important thing is this. You can buy for £80 at the start. You can spend a little bit more money than that. I think in total, all of these little sort of extra mods and everything brings it up to about £150. The Hall gimbals being the most expensive thing, at about £35 to £40 for a set. And then all the other little things. This module I got really cheap. I got it for 30 quid with a receiver. So I don't think they're going to be that much ever again. But still, yeah, overall, and I think now it's good enough to last you for anyone. It's good enough for a professional flyer or for a beginner. So yeah, it's the radio that grows with you, and I think it's cool. I guess you could just get an X9D and save yourself all the trouble, but if you want to maybe save half of that, if you're not sure if you're going to get into the hobby, get one of these. That's my advice. Another thing is, yeah, the red and white thing, obviously that's kind of not for everyone, but for me, like you can see, like everything I own is kind of red and white. It's basically my colour scheme, so this is better than a Q X7S. Oh yeah, look, even my chair, yeah, it matches my chair. So even this is better than a Q X7S because of that alone for me. But anyway, thanks for watching guys, and bye bye.